Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? It's Jamie here. Thanks very much for joining me in today's live or video if you're watching the replay. If you do happen to jump on, if you smash that heart button, drop a hashtag live if you happen to catch the live and a hashtag replay if you happen to be on the replay. For those of you tuning in via YouTube, thank you very much for joining me. If this is the first time on the channel, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to. My name's Jamie. I'm a full-time affiliate marketer, digital ad strategist, and I'm a coach for a program. I've got over 600 students at the time of recording, absolutely smashing it with their affiliate marketing business. If you'd like to learn more about that and see the free case study of how you can go from 0 10K per month in as little as 30 to 60 days, hit the link in the description. Feel free to lock in a time with myself if you're interested in ramping things up this year and beyond. All right, all that being said, had an amazing coaching call this morning with a group of amazing human beings. Thank you very much for those of you that did join me. I had a lot of fun. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully got a ton of benefit out of that as well. One of the topics that we discussed, and I think this is something that is kind of important in terms of the organic affiliate marketing or organic marketing in general, is coming back down to the idea of treating this whole thing like a business. And to give you a bit of an idea, I think when I first got started in the organic side of things specifically, it's not that I didn't treat it like a business, but what I was doing is I would message people and I would go and do some stuff, and then I'd create some content here and I'd go do some other stuff over here. And what I found was, because I lacked structure in my business, it also meant that I lacked results as well. And so what happened was I decided to take things a little bit more seriously. And then in 2020, when we were building out the Super Affiliate Accelerator, all that sort of stuff, and obviously I'm one of the affiliates for the program as well. And what I found was, because I didn't have systems in place to follow up with people accurately, and I didn't have things in place to go and actually seek out my leads and engage in their content specifically, it meant that I was losing a lot of capital. In fact, I would introduce someone to the program, and then a month or two would go by, I'd see that person pop up under someone else's affiliate link. Anyway, no stress. And I'm sure the same thing happened in reverse as well. I'm sure that does happen to us all. But point being is that once I started adding systems into place in order to keep track of my leads, and in order to make sure that I am focusing on the revenue producing tasks in my business, that's when things really started taking off. Is when I started smashing between 15 and 25K per month after that. So the big things to focus on, and the number one question to ask yourself every single day is what I'm doing now going to give me a higher probability of bringing revenue into my business today, or is it going to give me the potential to bring in revenue later on? Now, the reason why I find that question quite important is because it allows me to focus on the things that are going to bring revenue into my business today, or at least give a high probability of that. And on an overarching basis, they are realistically making offers to your audience and following up on leads and making offers to people in Messenger if you're doing the organic strategies. So, and then obviously through your content as well. So that's the key element. Over and above that, you've got the other parts, which is maintaining your pipeline. So adding new people to your audience through friends, or if you've got a group and you get a few organic leads, or if you've got a YouTube channel and you get a few organic leads that way as well, that's certainly part of it. So you do need to be creating that content and ideally building that relationship with your audience. But for me, the big things are, what are the money tasks? Now, if you have a finite amount of time every day to devote to your business, and you're sitting there going, well, what do I focus on? That's why you should ask that question to yourself, because then you realize, well, hang on, if I'm building this 58-step funnel out, is that going to bring me revenue, or have I even tested if that's going to work? I'm not saying don't apply some time to doing that type of stuff, but it's just one of those things where that's a potential money later task, that's all. So therefore devote less time to that. The other thing that I incorporated in my business, and I think this is super important, is I added a project management tool. I was using Trello for a little while. I've moved over to Asana, and you can, have to use these, by the way. You can use something like even just a Google Calendar. And what I found is that if I make contact with someone, and depending on how that goes, and I've actually managed to outsource a lot of that initial outreach side of things these days anyway. But because of that, what I can do is then use Asana to follow up and put notes in terms of what I'm I guess what conversation went like, what stage of the process they might be in, whether they are likely someone that I need to book a call with, or can I offer them a low ticket offer in Messenger, or any of that type of thing. And I found that doing so, it's allowed me to make sure that I am in the forefront of these people's minds when I am out there doing stuff. So I can do targeted engagement. I can follow up in 3 months' time, just, like we mentioned, all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to discuss today, is really just to encourage people to start and continue to focus on the money now tasks, and to give some more detail about what they might be specifically in your situation. For me, it is responding to comments after I've put out a post. So if I put out a post and it has a call to action on it, or just a blatant pitch, which I do from time to time as well, I will go and have a look at the people that have responded, and that's my money now task right there, because these are the people that have raised their hand in your audience, gone, hey, I don't mind getting some info on that. I'm technically potentially open to being pitched. And so that's going to give you a higher probability of a transaction and of a sale right there, as opposed to just chasing people endlessly type thing. So that's the money now task. The other one for me is then following up on the leads. So an order of priority would be responding to those comments, especially if it's like a low ticket thing, and I know that I don't need to spend too much time on that potential transaction. It could be something where I only spend 5 or 10 minutes. I put a Google Doc in front of them, or I send them a couple of messages and send them an invoice, for example, and that's money now, right? That's cash flow in your business. So then the next part about that is following up on the leads that I've been following up with, and that is basically, depending on where they are, usually the ones that are close to the bottom of the funnel will be the ones that I'll follow up with the most, have the most urgency behind them. These are people that have sort of alluded to checking out a video I've sent them, or have made some sort of verbal communication that they are likely to jump into something. So of course, that is where your low-hanging fruit is. So then you follow up with those people next. And then you got to think about the rest of the overarching strategy, which is then putting out content. Ideally, that's the marketing component of your business. So then that takes priority for me. And then the other part of it is obviously building your audience. So for me, I've got my community here. I've got my channel on Facebook, my channel on YouTube, and obviously my profile as well. So then, of course, it is adding friends. It is in getting them into my community. It is making calls to action on my profile and in my stories, and of course here in my group as well, and of course on my YouTube channel. So those are kind of the key elements of what I think people need to focus on. The other thing as well is, if you do have a Facebook group, you can leverage that quite efficiently. So a lot of the time, people will come into this community, and for those of you in YouTube, you're welcome to click the link below, or leave a link for my Facebook group. You're welcome to come over and check it out if you like. But a lot of the time, I'll get people that jump in and they've essentially put up their hand straight away, just going, cool, I want some help with my affiliate marketing. So therefore, I can reach out to them and just have a friendly conversation, work out whether I can actually assist them with anything. And for me, again, that is the lower hanging fruit. The other thing is, I guess the only other key metric that I try to, or key KPI that I have on a daily basis, and whether it's myself or my wife now does a lot of the stuff for me, I kind of just don't do a lot of that stuff anymore, is responding to everyone in Messenger. So I got a couple of tools that I use, and I guess specifically the one that I enjoy the most is Chat Silo, which I'm happy to leave a link below. Basically what that does is allow you to treat your Messenger inbox like a CRM. You can add notes, you can have automated messages, you can have group tags where you can tag people and you can send the same message to a whole bunch of people, or variants of that same message. So it allows you to I guess cut your workload in half as far as that's concerned as well. And the other thing I will say is a lot of the time, if people are sending you inbound friend requests as well, don't necessarily just dismiss them as being, everyone's just coming in to try and pitch you. Sometimes that happens, and that's it's kind of what I'm doing. So I can't really criticize that at all. It's a bit hypocritical if I do. But what you can do is, say for example, someone sends you an inbound friend request, and some of you might have even seen this when you've sent me an inbound friend request, is I will accept it and I'll immediately follow up with a message just basically saying, hey, thanks so much for connecting. I'm just curious what inspired you to reach out. Because I want to cut to the chase a little bit. And what I do is, in my Messenger, there's actually an option in the desktop version of Messenger for you to hide a conversation. So the reason why this is kind of important is I think a lot of the time you can get really overwhelmed with the volume of conversations you got going on. And so my logic behind this is that if they respond, awesome, then it's going to pop up back into my inbox anyway. If they don't respond, then I haven't lost anything, right? So they might be busy. They might decide they don't like me anymore. They might decide that they never really wanted to be friends anyway. They're just sending me a friend request because it's based on an automated software or whatever. And that way it keeps things a little bit tidy, a little bit cleaner. And again, you're only dealing with the people that are responding to. You're not dealing with the screeds and screeds of people that don't respond. And so the cool thing about doing that as well, by the way, is that one of the things I talk about quite often is this idea of detachment. And so it is important for you to detach from this entire process, because it means that you can do so unemotionally. You can treat every conversation you have as some new potential lead, but doesn't matter if they go nowhere. It doesn't matter if they never buy anything, because you have other options. You know that this is a systemized way of doing things. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm not empathetic with people, or that I don't care about humanity in general. It's just that you can create these efficiencies, and when you do, and you're able to churn through, I guess, a bunch more conversations, it means that you genuinely are detached, because you do have other options there as you're going through this. So those are the big things, big money tasks. Any questions on the back of that? See a few people tuning in. Thanks very much for watching, folks. Smash that heart button. Drop any comments, and I'll sit around for a couple of minutes. Hopefully that makes sense. Hi, Kelly. How's it going? Good to see you. Groovy. Thank you very much, everyone that's tuned in. Hopefully you got a bit of value from this. Like I say, big advice is just keep asking yourself that question of, what can I do today to increase the probability of bringing revenue into my business? And it will just really help you gain that clarity and focus, instead of going, okay, I'm just going to work on my blog, and maybe that's going to work or not, who knows. Not that I'm criticizing blogging. I think it's a great way of monetizing things. But anyway, on that note, thanks so much for tuning in. For everyone on the YouTubes, if you just smash that like button, drop a comment, let me know if you want me to cover anything else, and feel free to subscribe. Thanks very much for jumping on. See you next time. Thanks, folks.